Welcome to the PeakDay podcast, where we talk about fertility, faith, and natural family planning with our friends. I have a special guest today, Jeff McSweeney, Couple to Couple League's Development Director. Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
Uh, Jeff grew up in central Illinois, has lived in many places around the country, and he and his wife, Mary, have shared 35 years of marriage, which has deepened his appreciation for the vocation of marriage and the importance of helping couples flourish. He has spent his career helping mission driven nonprofit organizations inspire generosity, build meaningful relationships, and connect people with causes that change lives. A lifelong Catholic, Jeff is passionate about stewardship as an expression of faith and believes generosity is about participating in God's work, not simply making a donation. Today, Jeff joins us to talk about the joy of Catholic stewardship, why planning for the future is an act of love, and CCL's August Make a Will Month initiative in partnership with My Catholic Will. Welcome, Jeff, to the podcast.
Thank you, Martha. It's been a happy, beautiful morning to you, and I hope everything in your family is doing well.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeff?
As said in that beautiful introduction, I grew up in central Illinois, married 35 years. In addition to that introduction, I have two kids, one living in Ohio, working for Honda, and the other one living in Western Illinois, teaching high school.
So you are Couple to Couple League's development director. What drew you to Couple League?
I was drawn to CCL because it is much more than just the NFP method. It's helping couples flourish in their marriage, growing in communication, in trust, and as a lifelong Catholic, seeing those young couples really invest in each other is such a blessing. And then having that result in children that fill our churches, and you can see the future of our faith working out in these beautiful relationships, which from my experience is really based in a strong NFP, natural family planning foundation.
So when people hear Couple to Couple League, they often think about natural family planning. How do you share your understanding of CCL to people?
NFP is CCL's distinctive expertise, but marriage is its larger mission. And the technical aspects of PeakDay and charting and all that, where not only the female gets to appreciate understanding her own body and what it's doing, but in partnership with her husband, he gets to appreciate that as well and grow in that love and appreciation for what God's gifts have presented to us and how we can work together to make those gifts flourish in honor of God.
Uh-huh. You like to use the phrase flourishing marriages, Jeff. What does that mean? Yeah.
Oh, flourishing marriages. It's not a perfect marriage. It is one where a husband and wife continue to learn how to love, communicate, and grow, discern, sacrifice, and really come together in a way that is beyond, it's greater than the sum of the two parts. So you bring a man and a woman together, their unique contributions to the relationship, and a flourishing marriage creates more than the sum of the parts, and really is an example for society. I go back to John Paul II, great saint of our times, and his theology of the body, and so many of the popes, not just John Paul II, but so many popes encyclicals that talk about the foundation of marriage, a flourishing marriage to the future of society. And I think Couple to Couple League is at the very, I've used the word foundation a lot, but really at the foundation of presenting that information that can help couples grow in strength. And from all the studies we've seen, what I've learned in my short time here at Couple to Couple, all the studies show that those that are invested in natural family planning have stronger marriages, last longer, and the divorce rates are significantly lower. And so for me, a flourishing marriage supported by CCL, natural family planning, contributes to the strength of society overall.
Okay, when people think about stewardship and hear the word stewardship, they think fundraising. That's the thing
Oh
that
yeah.
comes up in their mind. How has your understanding of stewardship changed over the years?
Oh, for me, especially in my young days, I felt this commitment to give and support financially.
Mhm.
And when organizations, especially the church, approached me and said, "Hey, give where you can," I always felt this pressure that I didn't have the means to give. And it was always kind of a stressful thing for me. Well, I think the church has evolved over the years and not talked so much about dollar amounts given, but stewardship
Mhm.
in thinking of God's gifts to you as an individual and as a family, and how do you use those special tools, those special gifts that have been presented to you, and how do you give that back to God?
Mhm. Mhm.
Early on, I think we've all been there as more mature Catholics, is that we would be in church and the finance director would get up once a year, give a financial report, and say, give more. And that's all you heard about as far as giving and supporting the many ministries and missions of the church.
Mhm.
And through my experience and development and stewardship, especially connected with the Catholic Church,
Mhm.
it's grown over the years. I have, yes, monetary resources I can contribute, but I also have my time and my talent that I can give in support of very special ministries. Couple to
Mhm.
couple league stewardship is looking at your resources, the importance of marriage in your life, and understanding that giving in support of couple to couple league will strengthen marriages across the country
Mhm.
and across the world.
Mhm.
So our gifts and what my primary role is to communicate that out to our generous donors and to new donors and say, are you in support of marriage? Are you in support of healthy, flourishing marriages?
Right.
Then please consider Couple to Couple League as a worthy recipient of your time, talent, and treasure.
So, how can you connect stewardship with marriage?
I think it's one and the same. As stewardship has evolved in my mind over the years, it's being respectful of God's gifts. And when you get married, your partner is a gift from God. After 35 years, I truly believe that in so
Mhm.
many ways.
Sure.
And the gifts you receive through your time, talent, and treasure is something that we are responsible for using in a wise way.
Mhm.
It's not going broke. It's not going to the poorhouse. It's not giving every dollar to a chosen ministry or mission in your life, but it's recognizing that you may have some uh, extra funds, some excess
Mhm.
funds, some excess time, and that you can give that to something that means something to you, such as couple to couple league.
Mhm. So, Jeff, how does planning for the future become an act of love?
It reduces uncertainty for people who care about the values that are visible in their lives. It
Mhm.
answers, who do I love? What responsibilities have been entrusted to me? How do I want to show that what I'm giving to, what I'm committing my resources to is
Mhm.
valuable to me? And I think, especially in today's Catholic Church, is that people see that by example. And it's not getting out in front of the crowd and beating our chest and saying, hey, look at me, look at what we're doing. But
Right.
when you see a garden at church that's been refreshed,
Mhm.
I may not know who does that, but it's like, wow, somebody cares.
Mhm.
And when you're looking at planning for the future, you're
Mhm.
demonstrating to your family and those around you that you have commitments, that you've thought about the long term future, and that they put thought to it as well. For
Right.
example, with my estate, I've entrusted my children to commit a certain percentage of Mary's and mine estate to a particular nonprofit,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
for them to discern and for them to know now that, hey, you will be responsible for dispersing these funds. And
Exactly.
this is what's
Yeah.
important to me. And I
Yeah.
hope that you think about this with your own life
Mhm.
and finding out what's important to you and what deserves support.
Yeah.
I think for so many of us is that we hear from the church or a nonprofit, oh, think of us in estate planning and planned giving and such, and that they want all my money. And that's not the case. They're looking at a portion of your estate that can be worked at towards that nonprofit.
Yeah.
You know, when I thought, oh, they want 50%, and I'm not giving 50% of my estate. And they said, no, consider 10%.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're going, my children can live with 5% less to eat.
Yeah.
And yet this can demonstrate what's important to me and
Right.
Mary's in my life, and bless that organization with something that can
Hmm.
feed, and couple the couples example, flourishing marriages.
Right.
And marriage is very important to me, not just with between me and my wife,
Hmm.
but in the strength of the church.
Right. Right. So you're really talking about leaving a legacy, Jeff, right? Yeah. When you talk about legacy, what do you really mean when you talk to others about legacy?
It's so interesting, and in my experiences with donors, it's odd to say this, but giving is a selfish act. And it's like, what do you mean by that? You're giving something away. How is that selfish?
Hmm.
It's demonstrating what's important to you. Again, following up on the last question, but looking at legacy and saying, I want to bless and I want to see something grow. I want to feel good about supporting something that will continue long after
Yeah.
I'm off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
It's much larger than money. It continues because we lived, because we felt that it was important. Our faith,
Hmm. Hmm.
values, and relationships are demonstrated in the legacy that we leave behind.
Right. And it's a great example for your heirs and those who are witnesses to your legacy giving, or what where you want your things to go. I think that says a lot to them as to what means a lot to a person, so they know. So where does something like My Catholic Will come into that?
What a phenomenal example.
Mm.
My Catholic Will has been around for years. And in the partnership with Couple to Couple League, this may not be for our primary donors or for our families that are listening to this now. It's really a gift to younger people, to young professionals who may have not established a will or thought about their legacy,
Yeah.
and that we can assign this to them. We can give this as a gift to these young people
Yeah.
to provide a will, to think about their states, to think about what's important to them.
Hmm.
This may not be a lifelong document for them, but it's a foundation now that makes them think about how they want to bless the world with the gifts that they've received.
Yeah.
And for a donor of means, somebody who might be watching this video, and you say, I can give this to my son or daughter, or to my newly married son and his wife, and
Right.
say, here, think about this. This is a complimentary gift from Couple to Couple League
Right.
and from
Yes.
me, and I want you to consider it. It only takes 20 minutes to set up.
Yeah.
It's free, and when you provide the links in this video, you'll see just how easy it is to give this to that next generation.
Right, right. And it is something that they can go back to like yearly. They can just make a date that they revisit their will yearly, and everybody's life changes, everybody's family situation changes, and they can go back and review it and revise it as well, correct?
As we all should. I know for Mary and I, we made our will way too late in life. We
Mhm.
lived through parents that passed away, some estates that, well, some wills that were years, if not decades old, and you're seeing something that was done 20 years ago, and you're
Yeah,
thinking, is
yeah,
this what my parents and what my in-laws really wanted us to do?
yeah,
Was this
sure.
their wish?
Yeah.
And so for us, we definitely have it marked on our calendar on an annual basis to
Hmm.
open that document, to look at it, to make sure that what our desires are, what our connections are, what our
Hmm.
passions are
Right.
reflected in that document, so that those that are executing the estate will know what we're doing, what our
Hmm.
passions were.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, My Catholic Will makes it super easy to do all of those
Oh,
things.
it,
Yeah,
it, it,
it's so
it's been
convenient.
it is a wonderful tool, especially giving it to young people.
Yeah. So, why would you say that Couple to Couple League feels it's important to offer this resource at no charge?
Because planning shouldn't be reserved for people with significant wealth.
Mm,
Every family deserves the opportunity to make thoughtful decisions, protect loved
mhm.
ones,
Yeah.
and really fulfill that vision that they have. And when you're young and you look at your money situation, you say, I don't have any.
Yeah.
But you do. And I think whatever the document is saying should reflect who you are as a couple
Hmm.
and even as a single person, because this is not just for couples, it can also be for single people as well.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
this puts into motion an idea for you to reflect on what's important to you,
Right.
and it helps bring focus to your resources and how you want to show the world what's
Hmm.
important.
And I think it asks a lot of really pertinent questions too. Like even covers like what would you want to happen with your pets if you have pets. So it gets down to those kind of nitty gritty details that you might not think of otherwise, right?
Yeah, we want to serve couples no matter where they're at in their
Yeah,
lives, what's
for
important
sure.
for them.
Right.
And for Couple to Couple League, we are so focused on natural family planning, the processes and everything, and supporting a flourishing marriage. This is
Hmm.
just another aspect of that.
Right.
You
Right.
know, when you're introduced to natural family planning, it makes you think and prioritize and engage each other in unique ways.
Yeah.
And the gift of a will is equally important. Makes you
Hmm.
reflect, makes you think about God's gifts, how you
Hmm.
want to use them, and discern what is best.
Right. And I think that that's a great word for a will is a gift. It
Oh,
takes so
absolutely.
much uncertainty away and a lot of pain and stress, when your family should be mourning, it's they're dealing with a lot of things that maybe they shouldn't be dealing with if you don't have a will. Yeah.
And once you start it, like you pointed out, you revisit it on an annual basis. And you can
Hmm.
always look at that and say, is this covering everything I've done, everything I need?
Yeah.
We start off and we don't have the resources. We might have an apartment, we might have a loan on the car, and we go, I don't have any assets. But by revisiting it on an annual basis, all of a sudden you go, oh, that stock fund, that retirement fund that my
Yes.
employer offers. All of a
Hmm.
sudden, I do have a few dollars. I do have some resources. I have a paid off car. I have a house.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
how is this going to be addressed in the future?
Right.
And it is a blessing to those all around you that
Hmm.
this has been determined in advance.
Hmm. I think we touched on this before, Jeff, but you are able to tell your children, your heirs, specifically the charities and beneficiaries that you value the most, where they might not know specifically those charities that you wanted to support with
Correct.
with your legacy giving.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, it is for some families, they're very open and their passions
Yeah.
are readily discussed with family members, and
Yeah.
others they may not be aware of the importance of a particular
Hmm.
nonprofit, uh, especially in this case, Couple to Couple League. That this is something that they've reflected on and invested in
Hmm.
over the years, and they want
Right.
to bless this organization with
Yeah.
their some of their estate resources.
Right. Right. So, Jeff, as you look towards the future, what excites you the most about where Couple to Couple League is headed?
Oh, expanding from NFP instruction into lifelong marriage accompaniment. I think
Mm-hmm.
this My Catholic Will is just a little piece of that puzzle. I
Mm-hmm.
think over 55 years we have shown our professionalism and expertise in natural family planning. But when people look at that, they go, well, why natural family planning? And the answer is stronger, more flourishing marriages.
Yeah.
And I think as Couple to Couple League grows and evolves, we will be providing even more resources for strengthening marriages based on
Mm-hmm.
natural family planning. Of course, I mean it is our roots, and it provides that communication for couples,
Yeah.
but it expands into even stronger and stronger marriages.
Yeah.
That's why I'm involved with Couple to Couple League, and that's why I hope others stay involved and continue to invest in our successful future.
All right, Jeff. So, if listeners remember just one thing from our conversation today, what would you hope that it would be?
This is not primarily about money. It is about caring for what God has entrusted to us. It is a blessing. I look forward to working with everybody watching this video to understand where their resources will be invested and how their support of Couple to Couple League will result in even stronger marriages and a stronger church.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeff. Thanks for
My
being on
pleasure.
the podcast. I enjoyed talking with you, and I wish you well in everything that you are doing for Couple to Couple League.
Thank you so much, Martha.